They call me Squirrel.
What's going on, Squirrel Squad? It's your boy, the Squirrel, and today I'm looking at 10 things that will change in UK as Charles III becomes king. I know that the coins and the money is going to change. I actually got a sneak peek already at one of the coins. I know they just released that, so I got to take a look at that. That was kind of cool. I didn't get no sneak peek, but you know what I mean. We got a sneak peek as to what's coming. This video was done on September 12th of this year, and I'm interested to find out what the 10 things are that they have that are going to change now that Charles III is king. So if it's your first time here, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and keep coming back and hanging out with us. And let's get in this video and let's check it out. I'm going to shrink myself down and we're going to get to this. There we go.
Expected changes in the United Kingdom following the crowning of King Charles III. Welcome to Global Chronicles, the home of global stories.
Let's point out they spelled Charles wrong. It's Charles.
Facts and top 10s about people, events, past and present. It's nice to have you along for the ride. Today, our focus will be on the changes that will take place in the United Kingdom following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II and the inauguration of King Charles III. There are quite a few official things in the UK that bear either the name or the face of Queen Elizabeth. As monarch, this is to be expected. Now that Charles has become king, it is only normal that he will now become the face of these things. However, it is to be noted that it is going to take a number of years before these changes are fully implemented. The previous monarch needed at least a decade to do so. It is only normal that the new monarch will also need some time. Let us take a look at these things that are expected to change. Royal titles. Following the passing of the Queen and the inauguration of the new king, there's no doubt that there would be changes in titles for some members of the royal family. Charles himself became King Charles III, and upon assuming the throne, he bestowed upon his son and daughter-in-law, Prince William and Kate Middleton, who were previously the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince and Princess of Wales respectively, and thus the titles Dutch and Duchess of Cornwall, replacing himself and Camilla. In his speech, King Charles III said, "Today, I am proud to create William, Prince of Wales, the country whose title I have been so greatly privileged to bear during so much of my life and duty." With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the center ground where vital help can be given. This also means that Camilla, the wife of the king, now becomes the Queen of the United Kingdom. Although the king mentioned Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, he didn't really dwell on their titles. We do not know what the future holds for them in terms of their royal titles, but for now, they will maintain the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles. Money. Queen Elizabeth was monarch of the United Kingdom for 7 decades. She also served as the sovereign leader of over 15 nations, some of which include Canada, Australia and New Zealand. She also served as the head of a commonwealth of more than 50 countries. Taking a look at all of these, it is more than certain her face would appear on the currency of many of these nations. For example, she is the face of the $20 banknotes and coins of Canada. Her face also appears on the banknotes of New Zealand. Her face has also graced the currencies of more than 33 different countries in the Commonwealth. Upon the crowning of the new king, many changes are expected. All currency in the United Kingdom featuring Queen Elizabeth will now be replaced by...
I mean, that we knew. I was talking about that earlier, that was going to happen. But yeah, this part we all knew. I mean, most of this I think we all knew. It was interesting to see When they first said title change, I thought they're going to say, Charles is no longer a prince, now he's the king, obvious. But talking about the children, that was kind of interesting here. And here's the money. Queen Elizabeth was looking to the right, I believe it was, and Charles was looking to the left. And if that's wrong, then just reverse it. But yeah, I guess when they change the direction of the head on the coins.
By King Charles. It is reported that there are currently 4.5 billion British banknotes with the Queen's portrait in circulation. So it would take at least 2 years before the King appears on them. The King will also replace the Queen on the reserve banknotes of New Zealand, as well as the coins, but this would only happen after all its existing coins and banknotes featuring the Queen have been exhausted. Many of the other Commonwealth nations are also expected to make sure the King appears on their currency. Although all of this would take time due to the money still in circulation, there's no doubt that the change will eventually be implemented. National Anthem. In the British national anthem contains the words, "God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen." Since the year 1952, when Elizabeth was made Queen of the United Kingdom, crowds have chanted these words in numerous events, from sporting events, to social events, to celebrations, and so on and so forth. Let it be noted that the Queen ruled for 7 decades, so majority of the British faithful only know this version of the national anthem. However, there now must be a change, as there is now a new king. The Queen will now be replaced by the King. So instead of God Save the Queen, it would now be God Save the King. This is a tradition that has been passed on from generation to generation and is not about to be broken anytime soon. Although the Britons have been used to chanting the Queen all their lives, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to now chant the King. On the 9th of September 2022, crowds outside Buckingham Palace sang God Save the King while being greeted by the new King Charles III. Stamps. There's a long history of British stamps featuring the monarchy.
Kind of forgot about the stamps. I mean, the anthem is obvious, the money was obvious. I forgot about the stamps.
In the year 1840, the world's first postage stamp was launched, with an image of Queen Victoria. The popularity of the stamp was such that it led to the introduction of the penny post, which made it possible to send mails across the British Empire for just a penny. Fast forward 100 years later, in the year 1966, the image of Queen Elizabeth II was used on an elaborate postage stamp. Since then, it has been printed an astonishing 220+ billion times, and in more than 130 different colors. Although the new King of Britain, King Charles III, is expected to appear on the stamp, it will take some time for it to be implemented. Reports say that unused stamp featuring the face of Queen Elizabeth will remain valid until at least the end of 2023. The plan to print new stamps will come about when a portrait of King Charles is decided upon to replace those of his mother. It is to be noted that, although the portraits of Queen Elizabeth were due to replace that of King George VI in 1952, it wasn't until 1971 that those of the latter were completely replaced. Passports. For decades now, all British passports have been issued in the name of Her Majesty and are still valid for travel. It isn't until a passport expires that it would now be issued in His Majesty's name. For new passports, the wording on the inside of the front cover will be updated to His Majesty. Her Majesty's Passport Office will become His Majesty's Passport Office, as is the case with Her Majesty's Armed Forces and Prison Service. Since it will take quite some time for all these changes to be made, there is no forced change, and it would follow the same procedure decided for the currency and coins. Flags and standards. The royal cipher, Elizabeth Regina II, is emblazoned on flags that fly on an uncountable official buildings and installations, including police stations across the UK and Royal Navy vessels, depending on the circumstance. The British military flies the Queen's colours of blue, red, and gold, and many flags carry the Elizabeth Regina II in gold. As for the British National Fire Service ensign, they carry her initials, and some Commonwealth countries of which the Queen was head of state, such as Australia and New Zealand, have an E flag specifically approved by her, and whenever she paid a visit, it was used to denote her presence. Reports say that the Royal Standard, which is the quartered flag representing 2 quarters for England and a quarter each for Scotland and Ireland, could also change. The new monarch might decide to include a representation for Wales too. Following the death of Her Majesty the Queen, the UK government issued instructions on how flags must now be flown. This guidance has been passed down from King Charles III, the new sovereign. All official flags, including the Union flag, will need to be flown at half-mast as soon as possible. Only the Royal Standard will remain in its usual position. This is because there is always a living monarch, and the throne has immediately passed to King Charles III. Post boxes. The Queen's Royal Cipher has been on our post boxes for over 70 years, but will now be replaced by King Charles's new symbol. The current post boxes in Britain are marked with II, which refers to Elizabeth Regina II, and Regina means Queen in Latin. It will be replaced by CR III, referring to Charles Rex III, with Rex translating to King in Latin. The tradition of using the initial R goes back to at least the 12th century, with King Henry I. There are currently approximately 100,000 post boxes in Britain, and it could take years to replace them.
Wow.
According to the Postal Department in Britain, the old ones will continue until they are fully replaced. And they will continue to have Elizabeth Regina II on them. As for the new ones, they would be manufactured with the Charles Rex III inscription and replace the old ones as and when required.
I saw that new cipher. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. The CR with the 3 inside the C. I thought that was pretty neat, pretty neat cipher. Yeah, so I didn't even realize the post boxes had the cipher on them and had to be changed out.
Pledges in the name of the monarch. All British members of Parliament are expected to pledge their allegiance to the Crown. Over the last 7 decades the pledge was, I swear by Almighty God, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, her heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God. However, this is now going to change. Members of Parliament in the Houses of Commons and Lords will now swear oath to the new King, Charles III. Also, new citizens of the United Kingdom, who usually swear to bear allegiance to the Queen saying, I bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, are to now replace Her Majesty with His Majesty King Charles III, as will the oath taken in the name of the Queen by members of the armed forces and some other uniformed forces. The military. Military medals have featured the Queen for decades.
Oh wow, the
now, the medals featuring her image will now need to be altered to depict that of King Charles III. Also, for the past decades, military uniforms have been bearing the Queen's cipher. With time all of these will also be replaced by the King's own cipher. Royal warrants. Throughout the last 70 years, royal warrants have been issued in the name of Queen Elizabeth. Businesses with a history of supplying goods and services to the royal household have been using the Queen's coat of arms on their marketing materials, but upon her death, all of these have now become void. Each company is depicted to stop using them within 2 years. As former Prince of Wales, King Charles was already issuing warrants. So these warrants will simply continue being issued now that he's king. It is expected he will now grant Prince William the ability to issue his own warrants. And that's it for the expected changes in the United Kingdom, following the crowning of the new King Charles.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, some of that stuff I knew, but like, some of it I had no idea about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize I had to go through that kind of process, you know? Changing the mailboxes, a lot of it has to do with either the picture or the cipher on stuff. Craziness, right? I mean, it's different. But kind of cool, you know. And I hope that all the folks in the United Kingdom, hope they all embrace Charles, and I hope it's a smooth ride for him. Tell me which side of this. What else do you think they missed? I mean, what are some of the other important things that are going to change that weren't in this video? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys soon. Be good, all right? Squirrel out.